Everything that came after Dragon Ball Z, when Z ended in the 90s, we've got video games with the Dragon Ball Z name on them. We've got OVAs, we've got movies. There is a lot of media with the Dragon Ball Z name. Notice I'm talking about Dragon Ball Z, I'm not talking about Dragon Ball GT or Super. But one of the most noticeable, most important landmarks with the Dragon Ball Z name is Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. But what happened after Battle of Gods? If we couldn't end the Dragon Ball Z anime, the core story, on End of Z, if we can't end it on Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods after all those years with a successful comeback, where does the Dragon Ball Z name technically end in anime form? In story form. The last technical Dragon Ball Z product before Dragon Ball Super even came into existence was Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F. And to think that was the last Dragon Ball Z release in anime form, that's not a very good way to remember the Dragon Ball Z name. Yes, it moved very fast into the Dragon Ball Super show, but history still stands. The last Dragon Ball Z anime release is Resurrection F, and we all know the reception of that movie. It's looked at as one of the worst Dragon Ball movies of all time. But then what happened in Resurrection F? We all know Vegeta got screwed. You can talk to anybody, well, 99% of the fan base, and ask them how should Resurrection F have gone or ended. And they will all say Vegeta should have been the one to defeat Frieza. Most people will say Vegeta should have been the one to kill Frieza when it was his turn to fight, or some people like myself will even say Vegeta should have fought first because his fight with Frieza, his rivalry, no, not a rivalry, but history with him is far more personal than Goku. Even though Goku vs Frieza is the big fight that happened on Namek, ooh yeah, Super Saiyan, the legend. With Vegeta, he knew Frieza for decades. He made his life hell. Vegeta actually cried on the battlefield because of Frieza and what he did. Goku just showed up, turned Super Saiyan, and wrapped it all up. Thank you, Krillin, by the way. And yes, Frieza would resent Goku for being the Super Saiyan and treating him the way he did on Namek, but does that even equate to Vegeta's history with Frieza? Vegeta didn't even get a chance to end it the way he did. He just had to move on. He had to adapt to his earthling lifestyle. He changed, he had a family. But to think Frieza, in the back of his head, was defeated by Kakarot, then his son Trunks killed him, which is probably some relief for Vegeta in terms of his pride, especially over time thinking, yeah, my son took you out. But that was Vegeta's history. When Frieza comes back, that fight belongs to Vegeta. And hopefully we get a Black Frieza arc where Vegeta is finally the one to put this guy away, erase him with his new Hakai ability. Maybe that's the story they're aiming for, but we'll talk about that when we get to that point, if it does happen. That would be the only way to redeem the Resurrection F story, in my opinion. But as of now, the last Dragon Ball Z product we have, ever, is Vegeta holding Frieza at gunpoint. Frieza's weakened, Vegeta's powered up, with the energy blast at hand, and Frieza somehow outspeeds Vegeta's blast with his own blast to destroy Earth. Now tell me something now. If Vegeta's blast is already loaded right in front of Frieza, how can Frieza charge a beam, shoot it, destroy Earth before Vegeta's blast even leaves his hand? Who is the faster character there in that situation? What the hell was Vegeta doing? No, not Vegeta. What were the writers doing? And that technically is the last thing to remember from the Dragon Ball Z anime. Resurrection F. Vegeta getting screwed. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Whis time reverse, Goku comes in and saves the day. Okay, maybe we've got that to remember the Dragon Ball Z anime. Gotta leave it on a happy note with Goku saving the day, right? And against the most popular villain in Dragon Ball Z, Frieza. Maybe that was their intention. But what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about Resurrection F being the last of Dragon Ball Z? Should there be at least one more Dragon Ball Z movie or special just to get that bitter taste of Resurrection F out of your mouth? Or are you happy with what you got in that movie? We begin with Goku and Vegeta arriving to intervene and save Gohan during Frieza's wrath on Earth. After Goku takes Gohan to safety, Frieza in his first form shows hatred for Goku, intending to seek out his revenge. This is where Ginyu reveals himself, and in stylish fashion, Vegeta obliterates the final member of the Ginyu Force. Frieza is impressed and says he will kill him after he's killed Goku, but Vegeta says he will be the one who's going to kill Frieza today. Frieza rises and begins to show his original final form strength in front of the two Saiyans, in doing so, killing the rest of his army.
Goku steps up and says to Vegeta he's taking Frieza because Vegeta just had a turn against Ginyu. But instead of Vegeta bending over and saying have it your way, the Saiyan Prince steps forward in front of Kakarot and asks him, no, commands him to stand down. This is personal. You already decimated him on Namek, where I had fallen, shaming the Saiyan race. Frieza wants revenge on you, but that pales in comparison to the revenge I want on him. Even more so for him showing his face again on our new home planet. Goku can see the determination in Vegeta's eyes and realizes this is something he needs. It's been bottled up for so long. Goku says to Vegeta that this fight is yours, but don't overdo it. You've grown over the years, not just in strength, but as a person. Vegeta shrugs off Goku's words. Like hell do you know me, Kakarot. For decades, this piece of crap made my life a living nightmare. Even now, some nights, I can't even sleep because of it. I'm not like you. I can't just be happy-go-lucky and move on. This is what I want. This is what I need. Goku appears startled by those words, hoping Vegeta knows what he's doing. Vegeta steps in front of Frieza, but Frieza laughs and asks him has his lower back healed from the pounding he gave it on Namek. Trying to get under Vegeta's skin and knock him off his game, Vegeta smiles and says, Frieza, bathe in that past glory all you want. It won't save you from what's about to come. And what's that, Vegeta? Are you going to become the Super Saiyan of legend this time and stop this beast? I'd be very disappointed if you didn't turn golden like that other monkey over there. Vegeta smiles again, almost like he's bite into everything Frieza says due to a power struggle and bravado between the both. It's always been the same. He says, Super Saiyan, if you think my trump card is the Super Saiyan you saw on Namek, you won't be laughing for much longer. But you don't get the pleasure of seeing me transform. Now, take your long overdue bow before the Prince of all Saiyans. Frieza laughs again. Then let us continue where we left off on Namek, with you in the dirt. Truly, nothing could faze these brutes at this stage in the fight. Vegeta ignites his base form aura and walks towards Frieza, who is also powered up and walks towards the Prince. And it begins. Both strike at each other and block, and straight into a test of strength, just like what they did on Namek when Frieza's scouter broke. Both of them show ferocious expressions in their face, not a single smile. They both felt the power of each other, and it was extremely close. With Vegeta's surprise at Frieza's new power, but Frieza's shock at his final form not being able to manage a base form Vegeta, they continued to push at each other. They said nothing, but their locked eyes replayed the story that went back decades. And finally, an explosion occurs. Both start to take each other serious, with Frieza saying he's impressed at Vegeta's strength, being a monkey and all, but Vegeta responding with Frieza truly being a tyrant. No wonder it's best for him to stay dead. But now he'll do what his son once did to him and cut him back down to nothing, where he belongs. Frieza starts showing a slight bit of agitation from that memory and goes for a death beam on Vegeta, who dodges in time. The two engage in a fierce battle, and it appears Vegeta would be keeping his cool, as Frieza starts to become angry at Vegeta's new power. During this skirmish, Vegeta begins to overpower Frieza in combat, showing the significant improvement in his training compared to Frieza's brute strength increase. Vegeta tells the agitated Frieza he would feel sorry for him because of how pathetic his existence is, but due to his track record, it will be sad if he doesn't kill him here today. This chuckles Frieza. Are you any different from me, Saiyan? You should stand with me and we continue to carry out our quest for universal domination. We've both got blood on our hands. We can't change who we are. But Vegeta says, I'm paying my debt for my old days, and destroying you here today will pay off a huge portion of it. The games are over, Frieza. I can tell you've got more power deep down, and I want to see your face when you're beaten at your new best. Playtime is over for you, you hideous fool. Frieza rebounds. Go on, Saiyan. Become a Super Saiyan. I'll wait as long as you give me a countdown when it's my turn. Vegeta focuses his energy, closes his eyes, and with a great surge in power, Vegeta becomes Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, or just Super Saiyan Blue. But Frieza is not startled. Frieza asks what this blue transformation is, and Vegeta just responds with, this is no longer Vegeta the Saiyan Prince, but Vegeta the Saiyan God. Frieza compliments it, and says he better skip the countdown and get right to it, and so he transforms into Golden Frieza. Vegeta is shocked, feeling this monstrous power of Frieza. Everyone is shocked. He compares it to his own, if not surpassing his own raw power just by feeling it, but Vegeta regains his composure, a must-do whilst utilizing the tranquil Super Saiyan Blue form. Frieza clenches his fists. God or legend, you're still just a monkey. Now let me end you, Vegeta. Frieza charges at Vegeta and the two strike at each other with thunderously strong attacks. Bearing in mind, this time Vegeta is fighting Frieza at full stamina. It will not be the same result as he did in the original story after Goku already bested him through conditioning. Vegeta would not be in control like he would in the original story. Frieza's raw power would show itself straight away in a beam struggle with Vegeta's Gallic Gun. The two roar at each other, both in disbelief of the strength of the other. Unfortunately for Vegeta, this is where the Saiyan Prince starts to fight with not just a raw strength disadvantage, but now a lingering mental disadvantage begins to arise in this stage of the fight. Both Frieza and Vegeta, whilst in the beam struggle, have an intention to kill, and both have anger and hatred deep down for one another. But now because Vegeta fought first, there is far more pressure and emotion in terms of Vegeta's battle against Frieza. Despite him living for years in different settings without Frieza around, this singular presence of Frieza brought back Vegeta's PTSD and haunted life growing up, and it started to show in this fight. But would anger from the Saiyan Prince be enough when up against superior raw strength of Golden Frieza? The beam struggle exploded and both engaged in a close combat battle where Frieza's strength was slowly overpowering Vegeta's hard hits. Vegeta started to feel some damage from these hits. Frieza did too, but not as much as Vegeta. The reason why Goku began to outlast Frieza and start to overcome him through stamina and conditioning was because Goku kept his mind in the right place of the battle, even when he was struggling. But for Vegeta, the disbelief in Frieza's increased power suddenly bested his hard-earned own. Despite years of his own growth, Super Saiyan, Ascended Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, now godly powers, and also being a different man to what he was years ago, but the feeling of this childhood beast, suddenly stronger than him, began to make Vegeta angry, and also instinctively generated the familiar feeling of inner fear from when he was a young man who wasn't strong enough to deal with Frieza who ruled him. This indeed was scary, but also throwing Vegeta off his own game. Overpowering the teachings by Whis, by regressing his mind to all those years ago, when he should know he ought to be better mentally in combat through experience. Frieza truly was Vegeta's nightmare he needed to overcome. Frustration was holding back Vegeta's true godly power, where Frieza took advantage of this and started taunting the Prince, and threatening to destroy the planet and everyone else he cares about once done. He hits Vegeta into the dirt, and the Prince spits up a small bit of blood from the impact. Frieza would start to devalue Vegeta. You'll always be nothing, no matter what training you do. You'll always be my inferior, my dog. You belong at the level of my foot, you Saiyan filth, just like your father. Vegeta snaps and goes for a strike on Frieza with all of his anger, but Frieza dodges and hits him back down with a double axe handle smash. The Prince is on the ground, seriously not in a good mental place, cannot pull it together. Goku looks on and realizes what Frieza's doing. He's gotten stronger, yes, but he's making Vegeta lose connection with his spirit and mind to weaken him more. Vegeta has to connect his mind and spirit back to his body to be at his full potential with the God power. Vegeta tries to fight back again, but after a small skirmish, Frieza starts cornering Vegeta again, knowing full well he's physically stronger and Vegeta is now discouraged. He puts Vegeta in a stranglehold with his tail and punches his lower back once again. Well now, isn't this familiar? Punch, punch, and Vegeta screams in pain. Frieza was very strong, and just like on Namek, Vegeta's mind and courage was slowly fading away. You worthless monkey. Punch. Another punch. Vegeta screams in pain again and spits out a bit more blood. He falls from the Super Saiyan Blue form. Frieza spits on Vegeta. It will be a shame when you die. It won't feel right without the screams. Bulma starts crying for Goku to do something, and seeing Vegeta in serious pain and realizing his disadvantage in strength and mind, Goku becomes extremely angry and starts channeling his power, trying to focus it back to tranquility in order to become a Super Saiyan Blue. But it was difficult seeing this, and just as he tries to do it, Whis stops eating his dessert and calls Goku to hold back just a little longer, because the real fight is about to begin. After Vegeta fought a fresh 100% Golden Frieza first, the nightmare of the Tyrant's presence had interfered with Vegeta's concentration and focus to maintain the tranquility of Super Saiyan Blue. Just when it looked as though Vegeta's mind and spirit were torn apart from the haunting memories, westernized Goku to get involved in order to save Vegeta from Frieza's torture that resembled Vegeta's planet Namek beating. It was at this moment that Vegeta was undergoing another battle next to the physical one. It was a battle in Vegeta's own mind, and inside Vegeta's mind there stood the ruthless Saiyan Prince Vegeta, around the age just before he arrived on Earth the first time. And opposite was the Vegeta that came to be, the Earthling who grew in character and loved his wife and son, the one who put his loved ones in front of his selfish desires. The voice of the young Vegeta would shout in anger at the older Vegeta, reminding him of the evil Frieza, who ruined their lives, destroyed his race, and enslaved him. The older Vegeta would remember those feelings, and the younger Vegeta would try and project his fear and rage to the older Vegeta from all those years ago. But behind the older Vegeta stood Trunks. Not Kid Trunks, but future Trunks. Father, I can remember when you stood up to Cell for what he did to me. That wasn't the act of a proud prince, but the bravery of a caring father. Ever since then, your life changed for the better. You became stronger, and you meant more to those around you. Remember how you got this far. It wasn't because of your rank or your lust for battle. It was because you finally became your own man after all those years in Frieza's chains. You've become more than what you used to be. I killed that bastard without hesitation all those years ago. Now it's up to you to put him away for good. Remember who you are, Father, and remember how far you've come. Suddenly, inside Vegeta's mind, future Trunks slowly disappeared, and Bulma and Kid Trunks appeared in his place. The voice of Kid Trunks can be heard. Don't follow a path set out for you. Make your own future. And they fade away, and Vegeta looks at his younger self. The younger self is crying and shaking, haunted by the past, and the old Vegeta says, "You are a part of me, and I'll never forget you. But you, who I used to be, that doesn't define who I've become and what I do from here. This is for both of us." The young Vegeta fades away, and Vegeta's eyes finally open, and with a thunderous blue aura exploding from his body, Golden Frieza's grip on Vegeta's hair finally releases, and he retreats in complete shock, evading the devastating explosion. Frieza looks at the giant cloud of smoke and rubble, and there stands a complete, defiant, and determined Vegeta. Super Saiyan Blue. The emotional baggage had disappeared from his face, the weight of the past off his shoulders, and Frieza laughs. Still have a bit of fight left in you? The more of it the merrier for me to beat out of you. Vegeta walks forward towards Frieza and says, "The Saiyan Prince is no more." Golden Frieza laughs. "Well, of course he's no more. You've got nothing to be a prince of, and you're about to die." Vegeta, while still moving towards Frieza with a menacing slow walk, says, "You still don't understand, do you, Frieza? This is exactly the beating I needed. A necessary shakeup to get things working properly. I really have to thank you. Confronting you one last time emptied the fear and doubts from my head. And once that was gone, it only meant that space could be filled up with something else." Golden Frieza asks with sarcasm, "Oh, and what's that?" Vegeta says, "A passion for causing pain." In a sudden explosive jump, Vegeta appears at point-blank range and punches Frieza right in the gut, followed by an uppercut. Golden Frieza could not even keep up with the focused power of Super Saiyan Blue, and Vegeta teleports behind Frieza's rising body, where Frieza tries to turn around, but Vegeta maneuvers and grabs Frieza's leg, throws him to the ground. Big Bang Attack! The blast crashes into Frieza, who struggles to get back to his feet. "What? How did you gain this advantage? No, I'm still stronger than you. Now you hold still." Frieza dashes towards Vegeta in rage and cannot hit one move. The mind games have shifted, for it is now Frieza finally experiencing the disbelief that his power cannot handle the newly focused Vegeta. Every punch misses, then Vegeta grabs Frieza's fist. And Frieza starts feeling the fear, the helplessness that Vegeta felt for all those years. Vegeta says, "It's over." Frieza screams in Vegeta's face, "No, you're just a filthy monkey and you've always been beneath me." Frieza goes for the tail grab on Vegeta, but Vegeta grabs it under his other arm and begins to use Charizard's seismic toss on Frieza, sending him once again crashing into the earth. Frieza gets up and stumbles over. "Why, you no good Saiyan!" Vegeta lands down, and Frieza points his finger towards him. "Golden Beam of Death!" A supercharged death beam, Frieza's strongest beam, goes right towards Vegeta, and Vegeta closes his eyes the moment before it hits. He focuses his Super Saiyan Blue power and concentrates it to the point of impact, epically negating the damage on the exact spot, showing the results of the extensive ki training which he learned with Whis and Goku. Combined with that, something had just come over Frieza, which was inevitable. From the sidelines, Goku says to Whis, "Yeah, I can see it now. Frieza hasn't gotten used to that form, so he's been dropping in power ever since he transformed. And that beam just did it for him." Whis replies, "Correct, Goku. More importantly, Vegeta has regained his mindset and knows who he truly is. Even if Frieza dropped in power, without Vegeta's mind and spirit brought back, he wouldn't have won this fight. As you can see, it's over now." Frieza drops to his knees and out of his golden form. He squeals, "No! Who are you?" Vegeta walks towards Frieza menacingly again. "I was once the boy you turned into a monster, and believe me, I was a monster. But now that young Saiyan Prince is dead, I'm no longer the Vegeta you remember. I'm more than you ever could imagine. I'll make sure you never step foot on my homeworld again." Frieza grinds his teeth. "What? Wait. Homeworld? That's it? You care about this filthy rock? Well, I'll send you to hell along with it." Frieza's palms light up, and in the ultimate rage, fires an earth-ending blast straight down to annihilate the entire planet. But due to Vegeta's intelligence as a warrior, he anticipated a desperate Frieza-esque move. Finally showing his maximum speed in Super Saiyan Blue, Vegeta powers up and dives straight down through the earth, disintegrating the rubble along the way, finally overtaking Frieza's earth-destroying blast. And at shockingly high speeds, Vegeta was able to move in front of the blast and push it back up. Vegeta would unleash a gigantic, godly energy blast as he rose up with it, pushing the two powers back up towards Frieza's trembling body. "What? How did he move that fast? Wait, no!" Vegeta shouts. "No chance in hell, you bastard. No!" And in an enormous godly blue explosion, Frieza explodes into pieces all around the battlefield. His last-ditch effort countered thanks to the Prince. No, not the Prince. Just Vegeta, protector of Earth. Vegeta powers down and looks over his shoulder at Frieza's scattered body. Sorbet is then seen running onto the site. "If I could just pick up these pieces and get the Dragon Balls again, we can bring Frieza and his army back." Kamehameha! I don't think so, Sorbet. Goku noticed what you were doing a mile away. The remaining pieces of Frieza and his loyal assistant Sorbet were sent to the next dimension thanks to Goku's Kamehameha. Vegeta looks at Kakarot. "Still need to get that last move in for all the glory, don't you?" Goku smiles. "Well, you know, I've got to make myself useful at some point. Can't let you have all the fun." Vegeta nods. "I appreciate you not stepping in when you wanted to. As much as I love seeing you in agony, I would have probably wanted to help you out too." Goku says, "I'm glad I didn't. You really raised your game all alone out there. I'd say you've passed me by a few yards. I guess fighting alone really is your style, huh?" Vegeta starts to walk away. "There's a time and a place for us to team up, Kakarot. Today was just not one of those days." And so, the battle with Frieza is over. Vegeta faced his demons and avenged his past, and in doing so, finally developed into a whole new Vegeta. The story of events would soon continue as normal, but this moment in the Resurrection F arc would definitely benefit far more in storytelling terms, especially for Vegeta's character, for there would be no Whis time reversing, no Goku stealing the big fight moments, but instead, Vegeta get in the fight and win that he rightfully deserved. I hope you enjoyed this alternate story of Resurrection F. Until we meet again.
When it comes to the core story of just the name Dragon Ball Z, where did it end? In chronological order, Well, the end of Z. Goku leaves with Oob. That ties up at the end of Toriyama's manga. The original Dragon Ball manga is Toriyama's baby, and in the anime, it goes in line with that and ends with Goku leaving with Oob. Now you can say what you want about the ending of Dragon Ball Z, but there are things to praise about it, and different endings in Dragon Ball, whether it's the original Dragon Ball Z, GT, and Dragon Ball Super, right after the Tournament of Power in the anime version, each of those endings in the franchise, they all serve a different purpose. Z's ending is no different. It was as if to say, Goku's passing the torch on, but there could be more adventures down the road. There are other interpretations of it as well, but you get what I'm trying to say. The end of Z, it's not a bad ending. It's good in some ways for the character of Goku, but the journey keeps on going. It's a happy ending and that's great. And Dragon Ball Z ending on that is not so bad. Now, even though the fan base is split on Dragon Ball GT, you can still look at the Dragon Ball Z ending and make it go in line with Toriyama's manga, because there are different continuities in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Super is obviously before the end of Z, and is still going, but that end of Z landmark is pretty important. It's when Toriyama stopped working on Dragon Ball full-time, even though he did bits and bobs after, some drawings here and there. He came back after the Dragon Ball Evolution catastrophe and jumped in with the Battle of Gods project, and the rest is history. When you hear the name Dragon Ball Z, you think of a name that is prestigious, the golden name for the entire Dragon Ball franchise. Sure, the original Dragon Ball known as Dragon Ball came out first, and obviously the entire manga of Toriyama is just called Dragon Ball. There is no Dragon Ball Z in the manga version, but when it came to the anime, it was Dragon Ball, then Dragon Ball Z. Z is still the golden name. You see it everywhere. For marketing purposes, it is the strongest name still, even more than Dragon Ball Super. You know, when I go to different stores, do some Christmas shopping, I see merchandise. I see the name Dragon Ball Z on most of the stuff I go to. That name still sells to this very day, even though Dragon Ball Z came out in the 80s. And where I live, Dragon Ball Z, we didn't get that until the early 2000s. Where Toonami made sure it blew up over here. Even though Dragon Ball Super is the now thing, you see it on toys, Dragon Ball Super is in a lot of places, but Z, that's still decades ago, and that's incredible. So Dragon Ball Z, it's safe to say it's been an epic run, and it's still got gas in the tank, for all you Americans out there, petrol or diesel where I'm from. And I don't think the name Dragon Ball Z is going anywhere for a long time. Even in decades to come, people will look back at this franchise and say the name Dragon Ball Z.